All right, so here is my wife's old cookbook holder. It's worked really well for us for the last couple of years, I guess, since we got it. But you can see it's starting to split here, as well as here. It's split down here and is coming out, and it's just kind of made of cheap wood and a pretty simple design. So instead of buying a new one, I thought I'd try to make one. Now we're gonna make a few improvements. I'm trying to hopefully have some little fingers that come out to hold a book open, as well as these are just using butt joints and dowels. We're actually probably gonna do half laps for this build. So we're gonna try to remake this. I have a bunch of scrap cherry offcuts and catalogs. Now this is really dense, so it should make this thing pretty hefty. And so we're gonna try to remake this thing out of these scrap cuts. Okay, so all our pieces are cut down to their final thickness here, which is maybe just about 1/2 inch thick. So I believe we said that the vertical pieces were all going to be cherry. Put those down there. And then catalogs would be the horizontal pieces. So we should have plenty of pieces, and then this piece can either be catalogs or cherry. Haven't decided, but should have enough pieces. So I think what we're gonna do is now cut these all down to size, and then we're gonna do lap joints here instead of butt joints, so they'll overlap like this instead of just being glued together. It'll give it a little more strength, and will look a little bit nicer, though it is a bit more work. All right, so we've just about got all the pieces cut. So I think I just showed this. This will be our little notch that holds everything there. So we'll just be hooking this with a little hinge. And the last piece is this member here. I already marked it out, but we're gonna put some notches at each one of these marks. I just held it up against the old version and lined up the marks there to mimic that. So we'll go ahead and cut those now. Okay, and that piece is now magically cut. Okay, and now everybody's favorite activity, sanding. So we need to get those little ridges knocked down so they look more like that on every one of these laps. Otherwise, we're not going to get a nice tight seal. So not the most fun thing, but needs to be done. is time to start gluing up. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton of these clamps. I only have these two, so I'll have to use some other clamps, and I may not even have enough to do all of these all at once, but we will try to at least get the outside frame done, and then we can put this in separately. All right, and here it is, all sanded up. This is the front piece, I guess you could call it, the one with the lip that'll go down here. And here's the totally sanded bottom piece. So both looking good. All right, so we're gonna be reusing the hardware that we took off of the old one. So we're gonna set that right there. You know, maybe I'm gonna regret this, but we're just gonna eyeball it. The head broke off the screw. Okay, so I went to Home Depot. I got some little bit bigger hinges. Hopefully these will work out better than the brass ones. Now, unfortunately, I still have that screw stuck down there. So honestly, I'm gonna try to just work around it instead of taking it out or remaking this piece. Fortunately, this is not one of the harder pieces to make, so if I end up screwing this up, I just have to remake this. What we don't want to screw up is one of these two pieces, and that's what scares me the most. Okay, so I didn't film this part, but I made this little ledge here. So this is gonna act as the actual little holder that the books will sit on here. So I just glued up two panels that I had left over from cutting the frame out. Then I put a little 45-degree angle on there. And what I'm gonna do next is have these little pieces. I'm calling them little fingers, and I'm going to attach them right here at the screw in the back here so that they'll be able to turn up and hold a book in place. Just need to deal Okay, taking a big risk here, but this is just some sawdust mixed with glue. We're gonna try to fill in these holes and then sand them down. Not trying to make it look perfect, but just hopefully a little bit better than they do right now. So we're gonna try to fill these guys in. It's looking pretty good so far, actually. Looking pretty good. All right, so this baby is done. We can lift it up here. You can still see the screws, I filled them in, but they came out pretty well. So lifts up here, you got these two fingers that you can lift up to hold a book. You can lift that down. This one's a little tighter than this one. It's got different levels and you can fold it up flat. So the last thing we're gonna do here is add a little mineral oil. Now, I would probably say polyurethane is better, but all I have is mineral oil, and I think if I was gonna do polyurethane, I would wanna have done it before I assembled the whole item, because usually you put a few layers on and you sand in between, and it would just make it easier if it wasn't assembled. So I'm gonna go with mineral oil.